Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pankam langayate yatkipadam mande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramanandam Madhvam Shri Chaitanya. Hare Krishna. So today we have joined again. I think it's the sixth session, if I'm not wrong. Right? Last time I think we had a special class. Right? So wonderful to see you all. So dedicated and coming for the sessions. Today's session is very important. So before I start today's session, does anyone remember what did we cover in the last session prior to the special class? Bhagavad Gita session. Does anyone remember? Kala. What are some of the points that you all remember in Kala? Ataji, I think you can take the kids down. Yeah, you can take. Arun Prabhuji, kids class. Yes. Okay. So, does anyone remember any points from the session Kala? What is it? Time, yes. What is absolute and temporary? Great. What else do we remember? We look Brahmaji's life. How long does Brahmaji live? 311 trillion, yes. 40 billion. Very good. Very good. So what we did was we actually looked at time from a macro level to micro level. From Mahavishnu's level to Brahmaji's level to Yuga level to ultimately coming to our level. Right? So that is what we cover. Very nice. So today's session, we call it by multiple names. We call it by absolute truth. We call it by one God, many gods. We call it by who is the boss. Right? So in India, one thing is that everyone is confused. Everyone is confused. And it's very important. The reason why we are confused is because we don't have scriptural knowledge. Another reason is that we gain knowledge from people, multiple people. We keep listening to multiple people. We keep probably seeing some kind of TV serial also. Right? A lot of people from Radha Krishna serial, they watch the Radha Krishna serial and then they ask me questions. And these questions are not even mentioned in Shastras. So a lot of times we don't know what to answer. Right? So you have to understand there are TV serials are made especially for TRP, for viewership and for making money. So they will add a little masala and make it. Right? So it is not the right way to gather knowledge, at least scriptural knowledge. Right? So today's session is very, very important. This will give us clarity. Right? In a society where it's so confusing, right? What is the right kind of worship? Whom to worship? Today's session will actually give you more clarity as to what needs to be done as per scriptures. One thing we need to understand before getting into this is that we leave our ego aside. We lead our whatever mentally concoction we had, right? And try grasping things that is mentioned in scriptures, right? This could be eye-opening for a lot of us. Right? Some of us would have already known about it, right? So like always, we dedicate our session to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, because of whom we are actually able to understand this particular wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Another important thing is that it's a wonderful month. Does anyone know what month it is? Kartik month. It's also called as Kartik Damodar month, right? That is our Damodar. That's the form that we worship this month, right? There are various leelas that happen in this particular month. One of the leelas is Damodar Leela. There is Govardhan Leela. There is Gopi Geet. There are multiple leelas that happen. In fact, I was actually trying to write down how many leelas were there. I wrote almost 25 leelas, and there are still more, right? That happened in this month. And this month is so important and for Lord Krishna. And this is also called as the month of Urja Vrata. Urja is the name of Srimati Radharani. She is also called as Urjeshwari, right? And it's very important because she is the presiding deity or goddess of this particular month. And anything that you do, she offers it at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna on our behalf. And this means that any kind of spiritual activity that you do in this month gets you multifold benefits. Multifold benefits. So that's why it's very important. And you can easily please Krishna in this month. Every month has its own potency, but Krishna has given more importance to this particular month. Right? So we all follow this month very nicely. We have, after this session, we have Deepdan, because in various Puranas it's mentioned that if you offer ghee lamp towards Lord Damodara, that is one of the best things that can be done as part of devotion service in this particular month. So we'll be doing that as well. It's called Deepdan, that we'll be doing after the class. Right? So let's start today's session. We covered this. I want to know if everyone remembers this. If not, we'll just go in a little detail. Right? This is going to be a little technical. So I would suggest you all to take your book, write down notes. Right? If you have any questions, please write down the question. You can ask me the question right after the session. Okay? Is God a person or an energy? What do you think? Energy. Who says energy? Raise your hands. Okay? Who says God is a person? Only one hand I see. Okay? Right. So let's actually, two hands is all. So let's actually look into Shastras. Right? So anything that we need to understand, we should actually refer Shastras. Right? So one thing that we need to understand, see, multiple people will ask you multiple questions. Does God exist? What is your answer? Does God exist? What is it? He does. If I ask you to prove, how will you prove it to me? Okay. Okay. Universe, the cosmic, the way it's functioning. So it's logical that you have someone super intelligent who's functioning it. That's one way to understand it. Any other way?
We cannot see air. We cannot live without it.
You cannot see air. You cannot live. How does the life come from? Right? Very nice point. So to understand if God exists, multiple people will ask you these questions, and we have our own answers. Like it's all logical answers. So there are three ways to understand that. Right? One is called Pratyaksha Praman. Right? Pratyaksha Praman is by understanding through what? Through our senses. Through our senses. So if there is heat, if there is fire, if there is light, we understand that fire will burn us. Right? So that is one, through understanding through senses. But one problem with Pratyaksha Praman is that our senses are limited. So the knowledge that we gain from Pratyaksha Praman may not be true. Entirety, it won't be true. Then there is another Praman called as Anuman Praman. That is understanding through logic, through understanding through reasoning, understanding through inference, understanding the unseen from the seen. Like Mataji mentioned, the whole functioning of this cosmic universe, right? It's so complex, right? How does sun come up at this particular time, right? How are the planets functioning, right? So there is an intelligent being. So through logic we infer that there is a logical person behind this. But logic comes from mind. Mind can err. We can make errors. So this also has got limitations. So Anuman Praman also has limitations. But it's better than Pratyaksha Praman. Right? Now, another one is Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman means understanding the absolute truth through authoritative voice. That is coming directly from God Himself. So that is called as something called as the knowledge has been transformed from Lord to a person, and it goes on. It is called a guru disciplic succession, right? Just like if you want to ask your mother, if you want to know who is your father, what is the best thing to know? What is the best way? Ask your mother. We have got multiple ways. The DNA testing alone. DNA testing, how will you do? How many people, billions of people are there? Right? How long will you wait? Now, what is the best way? To ask mother. The Shabda Praman is by listening to realized souls who have understood the scriptures. Right? And that is called as the Shabda Praman is coming, that it is not manipulated because it's coming from the perfect source, that is from God Himself. That's why Krishna says, Evam Parampara Praptam. You can understand me through a parampara only. If you take a proper bona fide parampara, the knowledge that you get about me, the absolute truth, is perfect. So, Pratyaksha Praman and Anuman Praman has got its own limitations. But Shabda Praman is right because it's coming from the perfect source. Right? So keep that in mind. This was not there in the slide. I thought I should tell you. So it's God a person. You all said most of you raised your hands for energy, and I saw a few hands for person. Now let's understand this from Shastra. Please repeat after me. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam yadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Can someone read the translation, please? Yes, it's called Brahman. It's not Brahman. Brahman is a Varna, right? That is not. This is Brahman. Okay? So here we'll actually look at two points, two major words, that is transcendentalist and non-dual substance. Okay? So one thing you have to understand, what is non-dual substance? Non-dual means which does not have a duplicate. That is called as non-dual. And transcendentalist means someone who is actually looking beyond this material plane. Who is looking beyond the material plane, who is looking for transcendental truth, is called a transcendentalist. Okay, keep this in mind, that's all. Non-dual is someone who doesn't have a duplicate, and transcendentalist is someone who looks beyond the material plane. Alright? So there is Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, and Bhagavan. So let's look into this. So when you are actually going for trekking and you are driving down to this particular mountain, from far it looks like a very scenic beauty. Right? This is how it will look from far when you are actually traveling by car. Right? When you go a little closer, what happens? You get some more details. In that mountain, we have some houses. We have got some people living there. We have got some animals roaming. So what happens? The first is a scenic beauty where you see see a set of mountains, but as we reach closer, we get little more details. Keep that in mind. Okay. Another example. Now when we are young, right? When you're early morning, your mother comes and wakes you up, right? She's telling you it's early morning, wake up. So how do you understand it's early morning? Sunrise, right? You don't question your mom, right? It's because of sunrise we understand that there is sun. Sun rays are coming in, so there is sun. Okay. So when we go out and see that we have the sun disk, right? We see the sun disk. So these are I'm going to tell you three different aspects of understanding. So there is sun rays and there is sun disk. If you read Shastras, there is a presiding deity in sun, the sun god, and he is called as Vivaswan. So these are three different ways of understanding sun. So sun can be understood by the sun rays, the sun disk, and the sun god. So these are three ways of understanding Lord. Okay. Now, most of you told me that God is energy. A lot of people say God is light, right? A lot of people say Lord is someone. Brahma Jyoti. Everyone must be familiar with this particular word, Brahma Jyoti, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that the previous examples I'm trying to relate it to what I'm going to explain to you right now. So a lot of people think Brahman, a Lord, does not have a form, right? And it's Jyoti, or it's the effulgence, or it's the energy. So that is called as Brahman. Okay? The effulgence or the light or the Brahma Jyoti is actually called as Brahman. Okay? Now, one thing we have to understand, these are different levels of understanding the Lord. Right? The one level is understanding that Lord is the energy. So I'm not saying that you are wrong. You're correct. You're correct. Right? Lord is energy. But Lord is just not energy. He's much more than that. Let's look into the next aspect. Lord is seated as, everyone knows Paramatma? Everyone knows Paramatma? So when in Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ishvara sarva bhutana hiddeshu arjuna tishtati brahmayo sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. So what he does, that Krishna is telling that I am seated as Paramatma in your heart. In each and every living atom, Krishna is telling that I am seated within your heart. See, one thing I'll give you another difference. The Brahman has a feature called it's all pervading. It's all pervading. It's everywhere. Paramatma feature, it's all pervading, and it has got one more feature, which is controlling. So when Krishna says, Ishvara sarva bhutana hiddeshu arjuna tishtati brahmayo sarva bhutani yantra rudhani maya. I'm seated within you. I'm seeing your activities. I'm seeing your activities. Based on that, I control you. So Paramatma has got all pervading feature also and controlling feature also. So first one is Brahman, which is all pervading. The second feature, second understanding of, this is a deeper understanding of the Lord, is that Lord is seated in everyone's heart as localized Paramatma. Right? This is from Bhagavad Gita. This is the second understanding. So Paramatma is all pervading plus he is controlling. The ultimate understanding is that God is a person. This is the ultimate understanding. So that's why I said there is Brahman, there is Paramatma, and there is Bhagavan. So Bhagavan feature is all pervading, first of all, is all controlling. Another feature gets added to Bhagavan. What is that? What is that? He has got qualities. He does various pastimes. Do you understand that? He tries to relate himself with you. And that is called as Bhagavan. Now, this word called Bhagavan is not used for everyone. We use it for everyone. The Bhagavan, Bhaga means opulences. The person who has got opulences. There are 6 opulences, and this Bhagavan, the meaning of the word Bhagavan is actually given by Parashar Muni. Who is Parashar Muni? Anyone knows who is Parashar Muni? Vedavyas. Everyone knows Vedavyas? His father is Parashar Muni. So he has given the meaning of Bhagavan. Right? And Bhagavan is someone who has got 6 opulences in full. What are the 6 opulences? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is 6 opulence? All beauty, all strength, all knowledge, all wealth, all renunciation, and one more. He is all famous. So these are the 6 features of Bhagavan. If I explain every feature, it will take a lot of time. I'll explain few features in full that Krishna has. Then when you talk about strength, you see Olympics, right? Olympics, you have seen people lifting weights. So they lift the weight, they hold the weight on the shoulder, they pick it up, they hold it for some time and drop it down. That is the kind of strength, maximum kind of strength a human being can have. Right? Now Krishna, when he was small, when he was 7 years old, he actually lifted the Govardhana hill in his pinky finger. So probably that quote came, "Baaye haath ka khel hai," from his Leela itself. Right? And he was just 7 years old. And he lifted it for 7 days. Right? So Lord, when you are talking about Bhagavan is someone whose pastimes are inconceivable. In Mahabharata, in Bhishma Parva 5.22, it says, you can't understand Bhagavan with your logic because he is inconceivable. Our logic has got limitations. Bhagavan goes beyond limitations. Right? So with our logic, it's very difficult for us to understand. Because if we go by Anuman Praman, that is logic, very difficult for us to understand someone can lift Govardhana for 7 days. Right? How do you understand that? By Shabda Praman, by understanding, listening to our previous acharyas, by listening to Lord himself. Right? So he says, in Bhagavan, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matas sarva pravartate. Right? Aham sarvasya, I am the supreme, I am the first. Rest everything comes after me. Iti matva bhajante mam bhuda bhava samanvita. Those who understand, those who are wise, bhuda, that is the word, who is wise, understand this and do worship for me. Do worship towards me. So Krishna makes it very clear. There's one more thing, one more verse where Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita has got so many verses where Krishna actually tells, he is the Supreme. Right? He says, Mata parataram nanyat kinchit astik dhananjaya. Mai sarva idam protam sutre manigeva. Mata parataram nanyat. That there is no one superior to me. You have to understand this, Dhananjaya. Right? And just like he says, my sarva idam protam, like how you're seeing this entire planets and entire universe, right? How they are, it is just like they are strung on a thread, and I am that thread. Can you see the thread when you're having a necklace? If you're wearing a necklace which has got motis, you generally see the moti only. Do you see the thread? No. Just like we see the planets moving in their orbit, we don't see anything behind it. But Krishna says, I am the one, I am the basis. Right? So there are 3 ways of understanding. What is the first way of understanding Lord? Brahman. Brahman, what is the feature of Brahman? All pervading. Very good. What is the second one? Understanding of Lord? Paramatma. What is Paramatma? Paramatma is seated within our heart. Right? It is localized. Everyone has got Lord Krishna seated inside everyone's heart. Krishna tells that in Bhagavad Gita. And what is the characteristics of Paramatma? He is all pervading and controlling. Next is, the ultimate understanding is Bhagavan, which means Lord is a person, Lord as a form. And what are the qualities? What are the characteristics? Bhagavan, the 6 opulences that he has, he is all pervading, he is all controlling, he has got qualities, and he does various inconceivable pastimes. Okay? So that's why there is a very nice shloka from Brahma Samhita which says, Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. So Ishvara, this is actually a prayer of Lord Brahma to Krishna. So he calls you are Satchidananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal. Chit means all full of knowledge. Ananda means full of bliss. So Krishna has a spiritual form. So it's very difficult for our material eyes to actually understand this. Right? So Krishna, even when we had to show the Vishwarup, everyone remembers, right? So now Krishna says that I will actually give you the divine eyes to actually view this. Okay? So let's look into deep understanding of Brahman. I will just read the because since I want to ensure that I finish it on time, right? So you can note down the verse numbers. It's very important to note down verse numbers. See, whatever I am saying right now, it is right from the scriptures. It is not something that I mentally concocted, right? And it is not something that I'm giving you from somewhere I picked up from WhatsApp, right? See, everything that you understand about scriptures or understand about Lord has to come from scriptures and has to be bona fide. That is very important to understand. So that's one of the reasons everything that we put, there will be a shloka number. So that you can go and revise. You can go revisit and read. Right? This is from Brahma Samhita 5.40. So here, Brahmaji says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-different Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of the mundane universe, appears as the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. So here, Brahmaji says that Brahman, the light, the energy, who is the source? It is Govinda. And Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmano aham pratishtaham. The Brahman that you see, the energy that you see, everyone spoke about energy, right? The effulgence that you see, it is coming from my body. So Krishna says that Brahmano aham pratishtaham. The basis of the formless comes from my form. The source is my form. Okay, that is what Brahmaji also mentions in Brahma Samhita. So there is energy and energetic. So this is the shloka I told you about right now, where Krishna says, and I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, that is Brahmano hi pratishtaham, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So when people say the Lord is formless, the Lord is energy, which is right. But what is the source of that? That is the form of Krishna, because Krishna says, it is coming from me. 14.27. Okay? Everything that we speak should be from Shastra. Everything should be understood from Shastra. It is very important. When we understand from Shastra, the clarity, the confusion that we have is clear. We get more clarity as to why we do certain things. Right? So tomorrow what happens is, in India right now, as parents I can speak, we are very confused. Even when we do some kind of puja vidhi at home, we are confused as to why we do this. If your kid tomorrow asks you why you offer diya to the Lord, why you offer incense to the Lord, will you be able to tell? No, you won't be able to tell. Why? Because we have not read the Shastras. Right? So these sessions will actually help us. Right? This session is for helping us to improve further, to get more clarity as to understand why we are doing certain things. Right? So let's look into Paramatma. Now we looked at Brahman. Let's look into Paramatma. And some of the pramans from scriptures. So this is from Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.1, where it is mentioned, it's mentioned that there are two birds, inseparable companions, perch on the same tree. One eats the fruit, the other looks on. The first bird is our individual self, feeding on the pleasures and pains of this world. The other is the universal self, silently witnessing all. So when I said Paramatma feature, where Krishna says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hiddeshu Arjuna Tishtati, I am seated within everyone's heart. So here there are two birds that is given as an example. One bird is our Atma itself, which is enjoying this material world. And there is another bird, which is the Paramatma, which is Krishna, who is actually watching what we are doing. And based on what we are doing, he is actually controlling us. Now you understand? Simple? Right? Okay, this is from Mundaka Upanishad. This is from Bhagavad Gita. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. Upadrishta Anumanta. Right? So it is very important to understand this is what Paramatma does. He is actually overseeing and permitting you to do this. Right? Because he is seated as a super soul. These are different words for Paramatma. Super soul, Paramatma. Okay? So don't get confused by that. Okay? And this is from Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, verse number 23. Let's look at another verse. This is the verse I have been speaking about. That Krishna is telling that the Supreme Lord is Ishwar, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. So here Krishna calls our body as yantra, like a machine. Right? Krishna is seated within our heart. This is Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, verse number 61. Okay, so now we understood Bhagavan, now we understood the Brahman feature and Paramatma feature. So there is one more. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Veda. So a lot of people have read Vedas. But the thing is that they did not understand the essence of Vedas. So here Krishna says, what is the essence of reading Vedas? Vedesha sarver ahameva vedyo. The reading of Vedas, the ultimate understanding is to understand me. If you have read Vedas and done everything, but you have not understood Krishna, you have lost the whole purpose. Because Krishna says, I am the compiler of Veda. As Veda Vyas, he is the one who compiled it. Veda Vyas is the literary incarnation of Krishna. So he is the one who compiles it. And I am the knower of Vedas because ultimately it comes from it. Right? So Vedas or the Upanishad, the Puranas that you read, the ultimate understanding is that to understand Krishna. That's why it says, Vedeshtu sarver ahameva vedyo. Right? And this is from chapter 15, verse number 15. Okay? Now we finished Brahman, and we looked at various pramanas from Bhagavad Gita and various other scriptures. We looked at Paramatma aspect as well, and we looked at various pramanas. Now let's look at Bhagavan. Okay? So this is the very famous sloka from Brahma Samhita, which is where Lord Brahma is offering his prayers to Lord Krishna. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. Sarva Karana Karanam. That's what Brahmaji says, that Lord Govinda. Who's Govinda? Who's called Govinda? Krishna is called as Govinda. Right? One who gives pleasure to the cows. Right? And he is the Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Everything that you see in this material world, everything that you see in the spiritual world, who is the cause? It is Krishna. It is Govinda. And this is from Brahma Samhita 5.1. Okay? Another shloka. This is from Vishnu Puran 6.5.47. See here, this is what is mentioned by, I told you about Parashar Muni, who gave the definition of Bhagavan. So this is what the definition of Bhagavan is. This Bhagavan means who possesses these six opulence in full. All riches, wealthy, all strength, all influence, all wisdom, all beauty, and all renunciation. In this world, you will find wealthy people. You will find Elon Musk, you will find Ambani. But are they all wealthy? If they are all wealthy, are they all beautiful? Right? So some of the other things will not match. Krishna owns the entire universe. Not just this universe, every universe. Because the Brahmandas are coming from his body. So who is the proprietor? Krishna. Right? Who is famous? It is not just this universe that we have been talking about Krishna. There are multiple universes at this point of time also discussing about Krishna's pastimes. So who is the most famous? It is Krishna. Who is the most strongest? I'll give you a small example of Govardhan Leela. To make the entire cosmic manifestation work, to hold the entire planets at the orbit, who is doing it? It is Krishna. So when you're talking about all these opulences, someone who possesses it in full is called Krishna. If you see one more, I'll give you one more. It's very logical to understand. We have got multiple Puranas. How many Puranas do we have? 18 Puranas. If you see, every Purana, if you pick and read, whatever that particular personality is trying to speak, his name will be given. If Brahmaji is speaking, it's Brahma Uvacha. If Shivji is speaking, it is Rudra Uvacha. Devi Ma is speaking, it's Devi Uvacha. Right? But when Krishna is speaking, what does come? Bhagavan Uvacha. So it is very logical to understand. Right? Vedavyas is the one who wrote all the Puranas. Who wrote all the Puranas? Vedavyas. Right? So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind. So while Krishna is explaining this in Bhagavad Gita about the impersonal feature, which is the Bhagavan feature, while the Paramatma feature and the Bhagavan feature, Arjuna also asked this question, Lord, you explain this. Now, which is the best thing to worship? We also have this question. Which is the best thing to worship? So Arjuna asked this question on our behalf. Arjuna inquired, 12.1. Which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? See, Arjuna is asking this question on our behalf. So we also have this question. A lot of people, they think that Lord is energy, Lord is formless. Lord is formless. I'm not saying Lord is, but He is just not formless. He is much more beyond that. That is what we understood from our previous slides. The formless aspect of the Lord is the preliminary understanding of God, like step by step. The first understanding of Lord is that Lord is formless. The second understanding of Lord is that Lord is seated within everyone's heart as Paramatma. And the ultimate understanding of the Lord is that Lord is a person who has got his qualities. He does inconceivable pastimes. And he tries to relate himself with us. And that is how we relate ourselves. Can you relate with someone who doesn't have a form? Very difficult. Very difficult. So here, Arjuna asks this on our behalf. And Krishna responds. He says, the Supreme Personality, Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect. You can hear this from Krishna himself. So everything, like I mentioned, why we do certain things, right? We have to understand why we do it. See, Arjuna asking, see, Bhagavad Gita is such a nice book, the 700 shlokas that we have. It is like a gem. Each shloka actually opens up and takes us to different paradigm itself. And it's such a wonderful book. People can, if you take, we can actually speak about this particular topic for 1 hour, 2 hours, one shloka itself. It's so deep. This is just the translation. Srila Prabhupada has given us the purport as well, right? For us to make better understand, right? And here Krishna is actually telling those who worship my personal form are considered to be perfect. So here Krishna makes a differentiation, right? Bhagavad Gita 12.5. Another one. For those whose minds are attached to unmanifested, the impersonal feature, that is the Brahman, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. See, one thing we have to understand, there are people, there are jnanis actually who meditate on the impersonal form of the Lord as well. But for them it's very difficult is what Krishna says. Can you meditate on nothingness? Very difficult. Very difficult. At least in Kali Yuga, it is next to impossible. 5 minutes you start meditating on nothingness, you will be sleepy. I'll be hearing people snoring here. Right? So that's why Krishna says that the impersonal feature of the Supreme is very difficult for people to actually meditate on as well, to worship as well. Now tell me why. Why is it troublesome for a person to actually meditate on the formless aspect or the Brahman aspect? Can you tell me reasons why? Logical reasons, give me. Some of you actually spoke about it. Why? Why is it not logical, or why is it very difficult for us to worship a formless aspect of the Lord? Your mind will wander. Very nice. Any other point? We will lose the focus. Very nice. Yes, Mataji. We will not be able to visualize. Mind constantly wants something to visualize. We start visualizing something else. 6 hands, 7 hands, 10 hands. Various weird features will come in our mind. So it's very difficult. That's why Krishna says it's very difficult. Another thing is that we are always a person. Whatever relationship that we have in this material world has always been with a person. Someone who has a form. Our parents, our kids, be it our pets. Everyone has a form. Have you seen anyone relating themselves with the formless? So if we look by logical reasoning also, it's very difficult to actually relate to the formless aspect of the Lord. Right? It is very difficult. As a person, for me to reciprocate with someone, I need a person. And we are always looking for that kind of person. Even when we are looking for relationship, it is with a person. Is that understood? Yeah? So there is a person who is served, there is a service, and there is a servant. So who is the one who is getting served? God is the one who is getting served. And who is doing the service? Servant is doing the service. Okay? So that's how we relate. So there is a person, and if we're talking about a relationship, we are having a relationship with that person, we are actually serving that person. So there is someone who's getting served, there is a service done, and there is a person who is actually doing the service. So it's always with a person. We always relate to a person when it comes to relationship as well. Okay? So God is a person. So what we understood from the previous slides from today is that God is a person and He is the source of the formlessness aspect. That is the Brahman aspect as well. Right? So God is a person, which is the ultimate understanding, and the Brahman understanding is also there, but it's not the ultimate understanding. Right? And one should perform devotional service unto Him. Because when Arjuna asked, who is more perfect? One who is actually devoting himself to Brahman aspect of you or the personal feature of you? What did God respond? Personal form. Who does devotional service to the personal form is considered to be perfect, he said. Okay? Is that understood? Now let's get into another topic. This is very confusing. Before I read scriptures, for me also it was very confusing. Right? I had various aspects of understanding this. If you go into anyone's house, any Indian people, our houses, and if you open our puja room, it's like a khichdi, I'll tell you. We have multiple gods. We have multiple gods, and we do the same puja vidhi for everyone. Light a lamp and come out. Right? There is a person from a senior I heard. He was talking to one person and he was telling, प्रभु जी मैं रेगुलरली पूजा करता हूँ. अच्छा कैसे करते हो? यार मैं हर संडे ऑल्टर ओपन करके एक दिया जलाता हूँ. Prabhuji was laughing and he said, this is regular. In a way, it's regular because every Sunday he's doing it. Right? So, if you have to understand one thing, any kind of Devi Devtas that you have in your altar, everyone has a different puja vidhi. Right? We can't do the same puja vidhi for everyone. Another thing is that we keep one separate day for one god. Monday is for Hanumanji, Tuesday is for Shivji. I don't know this. There are different days. One day I won't eat non-veg, other day I'll eat non-veg. Right? These are various concoctions and things that we have put in our head. My parents follow this, so I am following. Have you ever asked why? Have you ever asked why? Have you ever asked your parents, इतने सारे देवी देवतास है, इसमें कौन, किसको, सबको कैसे करें? People are scared. शिव जी को आज नहीं कुछ चढ़ाया तो शिव जी will be angry with me. गणपति को कुछ नहीं चढ़ाया, गणपति will be angry with me. So what I'll do, I'll keep everyone in the altar. So सब लोग खुश. This is the general idea, right? And this is the general idea, and that is why we have so much confusion in our head. Someone asks you, there are various other, if you go to other faith, a lot of people, they actually tease us, right? इनका तो हर दिन एक नया भगवान होता है, हर दिन नया भगवान होता है, right? So we have to understand, and one thing is that, as per Shastras, there are 33,000 crores Devi Devtas. Now, Koti is the word. There are various understanding of word Koti. There is type, and there are crores as well, right? So even if you take the types, under the types come the 33,000 crores Devi Devtas. Because under the, if you look at the types, there are various Devi Devtas that is not mentioned, like Lakshmi ji, Ganesh ji. There are so many Devi Devtas. Only Aditya, Rudra, and various other Vasus are mentioned, right? But under the types also there are crores of Devi Devtas. There are 33,000 crores of Devi Devtas. Will you be able to keep an altar with 33,000 Devi Devtas? Impossible. Even if you decide, how will you offer worship to them? 24 hours to will not be enough. Never be enough. See, one thing is that सबका फोटो है. आपने कभी सोचा है वायुदेव है, gives air, वायु, उनका फोटो है आपके पास? What if he decides tomorrow I will not give vayu? Right? So people are scared, and people are not logical also. करना है पूजा तो सबका करो. 33,000 crores देवी देवता का पूजा करो. That doesn't happen. People select, pick and few, based on whatever we have been taught, whatever kind of experience that we have, right? And we pick them and we keep them in the altar. So when we actually read scriptures, it gives us an understanding as to what needs to be done. This is very important for us to understand, right? So let's look at this aspect called, are there many gods or one God? So let's start. So let's look at Brahmaji, what he says. This is again the same sloka. Krishna is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. This is from Brahmaji himself, who says Govinda is Sarva Karana Karanam. So here Brahmaji says that Krishna is the supreme God. So he says Ishwaraha Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigras Anadiradir Govinda. The Anadiradir is, he is the origin of all. He has no other origin. and he is Sarva Karana Karanam. This is the prayer of Brahmaji for Krishna. There is another prayer which is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam. And let's look at the meaning. I've put in the meaning in the next slide. So here Lord Brahmaji says, "My dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. O son of the king of the cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your guja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand." Here, Brahmaji is actually beautifully describing the form of our Lord. Such nicely is describing the form of the Lord. His color is describing. His garments is describing. His earrings is describing. The peacock feather on his head is describing. This is the form that Brahmaji is actually describing. He says, "You are the only worshipable Lord." Right? What we are trying to understand is, let's hear it from the Devi Devtas himself. See, we always, that's why I said, anything that you do should be coming from scriptures. Right? It's very difficult otherwise. It's very difficult otherwise. We will have our own mental concoction, and then we'll have various other things that we practice, which ultimately will not get us any benefit. Right? So this is another section from Bhagavad Gita. This is a part of Bhagavatam, that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So here, Lord Shiva says, right? "My dear Lord, you are the topmost of all bestowers of all benediction, the oldest and the supreme enjoyer among all enjoyers. You are the master of all the world's metaphysical philosophy, for you are the supreme cause of all causes, Lord Krishna. You are the greatest of all religious principles, the supreme mind. You have a brain which is never checked by any condition. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my obeisances unto you." Right? Here, Lord Shiva is actually telling that Lord Krishna is the topmost of all bestowers of all benedictions, and you're the master of all worlds. You're the supreme cause of all causes. So when you see the confusion that is there is in our level. Earthly planet में हम human beings को ही confusion है. When it goes to the spiritual world, Devi Devtas are not confused. They know their role. But यहाँ पे, just because I am worshipping a particular god, then say that is supreme. Someone else is worshipping Ganesh ji. You say Ganesh ji is supreme, because we have certain attachment to them. We have been following certain pratha as a tradition. But if you actually dig deep and understand through scriptures, that is when we understand. Right? Let's look at this Srimad Bhagavatam again from Bhagavad Gita only. Lord Shiva is telling, "And always engage in the service in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering." I think this is when Mata Parvati is actually asking Lord Shiva that you are always meditating, right? And I want to know whom we are meditating on. So that's when Lord Shiva actually tells this, that he is actually meditating on Lord Vasudeva. Who is Vasudeva? Krishna. Son of Vasudeva is called as Vasudeva. Right? Here another sloka from Srimad Bhagavatam from Bhagavad Gita only. Lord Mahadeva said, "O chief demigod among the demigods, O all-pervading Lord, master of the universe, by your energy you are transformed in the creation. You are the root and efficient cause of everything. You are not material. Indeed, you are the super soul or supreme living force of everything. Therefore, you are Parameshwara, the supreme controller of all controllers." See, one thing we have to understand, that from Devi Devtas is where we try to understand who is the supreme. And they have actually, this is all noted down in our Shastras. Right? If you actually go, there is a very beautiful story. I feel that even to a certain extent, Lord Shiva has actually helped me a lot coming into this particular Krishna being Krishna conscious, because my Kuladevta is Lord Shiva, right? And there's a beautiful pastime. which is there in the scriptures, there was a Brahmana who was very material, but he was a bhakt of Lord Shiva. And he was very material. So he was doing this austerity to please Lord Shiva. And he pleased Lord Shiva. So he was very material. So he told Lord Shiva, शिव जी आप मेरे को आपको सबसे जो प्रिय है वो मेरे को दे दो. Right? And Shivji said that you meet this particular person. The person is called as Sanatan Goswami. He is one of the acharyas in this line. He told you meet Sanatan Goswami. He will have the thing that you want. You go meet him. So I think in Vrindavana he goes and meets Sanatan Goswami, that particular Brahmana. And then he told Lord Shiva actually sent me here. He told me that you have got the most valuable thing that you can offer it to me. Then Sanatan Goswami understood that this is Lord Shiva what he wanted to intend from this particular Leela. So Sanatan Goswami, from a garbage, he picked up a Chintamani stone. Chintamani stone is something that turns iron into gold. Brahmana is so happy seeing the Chintamani stone. My God, he is so happy. Now he is the richest man. Touch anything and everything turns to gold. And he walks. He's walking back. And as he's walking, he realizes something. If this is the most valuable thing, why did Sanatan Goswami pick it up from garbage? So he goes back to Sanatan Goswami. He goes back to Sanatan Goswami and he asks, Prabhu, I don't think this is the most valuable thing. You have cheated me. If this is the most valuable thing, how can you actually pick it from garbage? So that's when Sanatan Goswami understood why Lord Shiva has sent him. That the most valuable thing is Krishna Prem. And that's when he starts telling him about Krishna. Right? And that's when he starts worshipping the Lord Krishna. So this is what, from this what we understand is that when we try to please Lord Shiva, right? What he gives, what he wants to ultimately give is this, Krishna Prem. For him, he is Ashutosh. He is very easily pleased. If you ask him any material thing, he will just give you like this. Because he is a renunciant, he doesn't want. He is easily pleased, he will give you. But you ask him with your pure heart, what is the most closest thing, a most important thing for you, Lord Shiva will tell you. Will actually give you Krishna Prem. So in a way, I feel it's because of Lord Shiva's mercy that I am here. I am able to do some kind of devotional service to Lord Krishna. Right? It is only if you have Mahadev's Kripa, they say, that you can come to Krishna. Right? And that is very important to understand. And it is not very easy to cheat Lord. When you're thinking about cheating Krishna, right? There is a very nice song, Vajay Prasidham, Navanita Choram, Choragraganyam, Purusham Navami. You cannot cheat Krishna. Right? What Krishna says, the ultimate goal of life is actually Antakale cha mamekam smaran mukta kalevaram. What is your Antakal? What is your goal? Is to think about me. When you think about me, you ultimately come to me. So here in Bhagavad Gita, he's trying to establish something. He's trying to establish that ultimately you should worship me if you want to come to me. If you do various activities in this world and you think, see, Krishna has told Antakale cha mam ekam, before death I will certainly remember him. Abhi kuch nahi karna hai. Jab heart attack aayega, that time I will remember the form of the Lord. Heart attack ka pain first of all. Second of all, in Shastra it is mentioned that when the soul is actually pulled out from your body, it is like 10,000 scorpion bites. While we are actually going through that pain and we have never done bhakti to Krishna, 5 minutes Bhagavan ko dekh liye. That is what we have done. Do you think we will be able to remember Krishna? We will never be able to remember Krishna. Right? Antakalecha mamekam smaran mukta kalevaram. So it is very important to imbibe this devotional worship, the chanting of the holy name, doing worship of the Lord on a daily basis. We should make it just like we brush and take bath before we head out. This should be a habit. And this is what we need to inculcate. And when we are able to do this, then Antakal, then this life, human life becomes perfect. Then we are able to think about Krishna. at the time of death. He is the biggest cheater. You cannot cheat him, thinking that at the time of death, I will do this. No, you will not be able to do this. I heard this wonderful story from a very senior Vaishnava. He says, there was a guy who went on top of the mountain and he was calling out to the Lord. And he said, "Oh God, are you there? Oh God, are you there? If you are there, I want to hear you." And God said, "Yes, I'm here." Right? So he asked, "Oh God, millions of years, or 24 hours or 48 hours or millions of hours, how much is it for you?" He said, "It's just like a moment for me." God said, "It's just like a moment for me." So he said, "Billions of rupees, billions of money, trillions of money, how much is it for you?" He said, "It's just like one penny for me." Then this fellow thought, "I'll cheat the Lord. Lord, can you give me one penny?" God said, "Give me one moment." Right? It's a very nice thing that I heard from you. So you cannot cheat Krishna. So Krishna is called Chaura Graganyam Purusham Navami. He is the, when it comes to thief, he is the Shiromani of thieves. Right? So it is very difficult to cheat Lord. Right? So let's go to next shloka. This is again from Padma Puran, where Lord Shiva is actually speaking to Mata Parvati. Of all types, this is very nice shloka. Aradhanam sarvesham Vishnu aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadyanam samarchanam. Of all types of worship, worship of Lord Vishnu is best. And better than worship of Lord Vishnu is the worship of his devotees, the Vaishnava. So here, Lord Shiva is telling, Vishnu's worship is the topmost. But even better than that is worshipping the Vaishnava, the devotees of the Lord. Why? Why does Lord Shiva tell like that? Because Vaishnavas are the ones who will actually take you to the Lord. Vaishnavas are the ones who are closer to the Lord. Only because of their mercy you will be able to understand God. So here Lord Shiva makes a very important point. Even better than worshipping Lord is actually taking guidance of worshipping the Vaishnavas. Right? So this is another shloka from Brahma Samhita. This is about Durga Devi. The external potency, Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving and destroying agency of the mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda in accordance with whose will Durga Ma conducts herself. See, Durga Ma, the word Durga, the word Durg comes from Durga. What does Durg mean? Fort. So Durga Ma is the one who is actually managing this material world. She is in charge of managing this material world. And she is constantly poking us with her Trishul. Trishul has three ends. What does the three ends signify? Adhyatmika Klesha, Adi Bhautika Klesha, and Adi Daivika Klesha. Adhyatmika means these are kleshas, these are problems that is created by our own body and mind. Everyone has got issues with their body. Everyone has got issues with their mind. This is one klesha. Another klesha is Adi Bhautika. Problems created by fellow living beings. Someone else is making your life miserable. Everyone has that person. Right? Everyone has that person. If nobody has that person, there will be a mosquito to ruin your life. Or a coronavirus. Right? And there is Adi Daivika Klesha, which is the natural calamities that happen here. So these are the three different kinds of kleshas that is there in this material world. And Durga Ma is actually controlling that. And she's telling you constantly, you are not supposed to be in this material world. You need to go back to the spiritual world. But hum log kya, we just take it like acupuncture. Jo bhi sufferings we are getting, वो निकल जाएगा. But we have to understand the sufferings, why it comes. The sufferings is an understanding that there is a problem. There is some problem. We need to find out the problem. The problem is that we are spiritual and we are in this material world. Spiritual. We are spiritual. That means we are supposed to be in the spiritual world. So Durga Ma is actually doing that. She has been given that particular seva, where she constantly pokes us with these kleshas. telling, please get up, get up. This is not a place for permanent residence. लेकिन हम लोग क्या करते हैं? प्लान बनाते हैं. 5 साल का प्लान, 10 साल का प्लान. पर कल का तो पता ही नहीं, लेकिन प्लान तो बनाते हैं. Right? This is another shloka from Brahma Samhita 5.24 by Lord Ganesha. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, whose lotus feet are always held by Ganesha upon the pair of Tumuli protruding from his elephant head in order to obtain power for his function of destroying all the obstacles on the path of progress of the three worlds. Lord Ganesha is called as Vignaharta. And he is taking the help of Govinda, who is also called as Vigna Vinasha. Right? So Lord, here Govinda, here Ganesha is telling that I get the power of being a Vignaharta from you, O Govinda. Right? Now if I say, based on the scriptures that we understood, if Krishna is supreme, then what about others? वो क्या ऐसे बैठे क्या? ऐसे तो नहीं है? नहीं? So what are they? So we can't, see, just because Krishna is supreme doesn't mean that we can disrespect Devi Devtas. They are close associates of the Lord. They have been given this job of administering the material world, and Lord only gives it to people he trusts. So just because Krishna is supreme doesn't mean that we go on disrespecting Devi Devtas. We are not at all in that level. They are very high. Very high. And they are closer to the Lord. So we always worship them, we always respect them. And that should be the mentality. Right? But we also should know ultimately what our goal is also. There was a nice, everyone would have heard about this particular reporter, it's very famous. So this particular reporter went around the entire, he was from a foreign land, he went around the entire India, and someone asked him, sir, you went around the entire India, you wanted to look at the culture, you wanted to understand the spiritual aspect of the land of India. Can you tell me who is God? The reporter wanted to pull his leg because we have multiple gods. So he said, every temple that I went, there was a personality sitting with some kind of weapon. Someone with 2 hands, someone with 4 hands, someone with 6 hands, someone killing someone. But in this particular temple, I saw a person who's standing crooked, who's playing his flute, and on his side he has many hands. So I think he is only God. So the understanding is that God is someone who doesn't have any work. Right? He comes to this material world according to his will. Natasya karyam na karanam cha vidyate. So Lord is someone who doesn't have any work. He comes according to his own will. So Krishna comes according to his own will for various pastimes to attract devotees. Why does he do all these inconceivable pastimes? Killing Aghasura, killing Putana. Why does he do? So that he can attract everyone. Why does he play with the cows? Why does he play with the coward boys and the gopis? Why does he do that? Why do we still talk about Krishna stealing butter? I was just hearing a lecture from Karthika Babuji yesterday. In our material world, if someone steals, he is considered to be a thief. We probably insult him. But here is our Lord who stole and we are glorifying him. Makan Chor. We worship him. Right? That's how. So, if Krishna is supreme, then what about others? So, it is just like the administration structure of a company, just for understanding. So, we have sales head, finance head, right? Purchase head, country head. So, like that, to administer the material world, we have various heads. So, now, here, question for you, everyone. You have to answer. No prizes for this. If Krishna is the CEO, who is the rain minister? Who is it? Indradev. Very good. Krishna is the CEO. Who is the light minister? Very good. Suryadev. Krishna is the CEO. Who is the power minister? Come on. No, not Shivji. No, no. Power. It comes from Agni. Agni Dev is the power, fire god. If Krishna is the CEO, who is water minister? Varuna Dev. Very nice. If Krishna is the CEO, who is the wind minister? Vayu Dev. If Krishna is the CEO, who is the treasurer? Very nice. It's Kubera. If Krishna is the CEO, who is the finance minister? Lakshmi Devi. So everyone's favorite. At least in Diwali time, we'll forget everyone, but we'll not forget Lakshmi Devi. But we have to understand one thing. Lakshmi Devi's another name is called Chanchala. She is not in one place for a long time. If you want to capture Lakshmi Devi, whom are you supposed to worship? Right? Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. Because in Brahma Samhita there is a very nice verse. I forgot the verse, where it says that there are Sahasra Lakshmi actually serving the Lord. And she will not leave the Lord. So if you actually worship the Lord, you are naturally binding Lakshmi Devi also. If you are just worshipping Lakshmi Devi, she is Chanchala, she will move away. She will go to a place where her husband is worshipped. She stays there only. Right? See, I gave you a loophole. Right? But don't worship Lakshmi Devi just for that. Right? If Lord is the CEO, who is the Home Minister? We just spoke about the Home Minister. Durga Ma, yes, Durga Devi. If Lord is the CEO, who is the Education Minister? Saraswati Devi. If the Lord is the CEO, who is the Construction Minister? Vishwakarma, very good. If Lord is the CEO, who is the Creation Minister? Brahmaji is the Creation Minister. If Lord is the CEO, who is the Annihilation Minister? Lord Shiva is the Annihilation Minister. If Lord is the CEO, who is the Path Clearing Minister? Ganeshji is the Path Clearing Minister. If Lord is the CEO, this one is difficult. You answer this. One extra sweet during Prasadam. Who is the Placement Minister? Previous Gita course don't answer. Current Gita course I want them to answer. Who is the Placement Minister? Shani Dev? No, not Shani Dev. Not Radharani. Yes, Mataji gets special sweet. Prabhuji, please. It is Yamraj. Based on whatever activities that you do, after death, he will place you. Right? Heaven or hell. Right? So what is the need of demigods? See, this is not demigod, this is demigod, which means Devata. Devi, Devata. Right? This is not for disrespecting. Please don't understand it that way. So here, Lord Shiva is actually telling in Padma Puran, oh beautiful lady. See, if you see, in various Puranas, we have 18 Puranas. In various Puranas, if you actually look at Shiv Puran, if you actually look at Devi Puran, this Shiv Puran says that Shivji is actually supreme. Devi Puran, if you take, which is, it says that Ma Devi is supreme. Right? So this has been written by Vyasdev only. But here Shivji actually mentions it. Everyone has attended the three modes of material nature. What are the three modes of material nature? Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic. So here Lord Shiva is actually dividing the Puranas under these three modes. There are 18 Puranas. 18 divided by 3 is 6. So 6, each of 6 Puranas comes under Satvik Purana, Rajasic Purana and Tamasic Purana. The Puranas itself are not Rajasic or Tamasic. It caters to people who are Rajasic or Tamasic. Understood? Right? See, for a person to understand Krishna is supreme or Vishnu is supreme, it is not very easy to understand. Certain person will not able to take it. If you talk about breaking the cycle of cycle of birth and death, people will not understand. The deeper philosophy, people will not understand. The Puranas, the ultimate aim of Purana is that at least start worshipping someone. Fine, you like this Devi Devta, you start worshipping. ultimately you will get an understanding. That's why Lord is not someone that he says that he has given the understanding that you're supposed to worship me, but he also knows how we are, how our mind works. But he wants to ensure that everyone is taken care of. So that's why he has made various Puranas to cater to different peoples of different consciousness. At least you start worshipping someone. At least you start listening to someone. And when we have that mood, we have that humbleness, then we start listening. Then we start with humility, we start understanding the deeper concepts that is mentioned in scriptures. Right? So that's why it says, know that the Vishnu, Narada, Bhagavata, Garuda and Padma and Vara Puranas are in the mode of goodness. The Brahmanda, Brahma Vaivarta, Markandeya, Bhavishya, Vamana and Brahma Puranas are in the mode of passion. The Matsya, Kurma, Linga, Shiva, Skanda and Agni Puranas are in the mode of ignorance. Right? So these are Puranas that cater to different kinds of consciousness people have. So people who are more into Rajasic mode, people are more into Tamasic mode. These Puranas will help them to ultimately move up the ladder. Right? So that is the reason. See, Lord is someone who's saying that if he gives just one book and tells you to just focus, this is enough. It is very difficult. Everyone has different kinds of concepts in their head. Why? Why will I just... Krishna is telling you, he's such an egoistic person. He is telling, I am the Supreme Lord. How can he tell like that? If you go into a company, if you ask the peon, if you ask who is the boss, he will say, I am not the boss. So if you go ask the boss himself, are you the boss? He will say, yes, I am the one who owns it. Right? So here Arjuna also asks, who is the Supreme? And that's when Krishna says that I am the one. Right? So it is very important to understand this. And see, right now this will all look very confusing because there is too much information that is provided to you at this particular point of time. And actually there is loads that we can speak about this particular topic. Loads we can speak. But this is just for understanding, and you have taken, I'm hoping that you all have taken your notes when it comes to the pramanas that I mentioned. Keep reading those pramanas. And what I would like to say, one more thing is that it is very important to do sadhana. Right? It is very important to do sadhana because this understanding will come through sadhana. Right? If you just hear this lecture, theory is good. But theory becomes realization when you do sadhana. Otherwise, theory will remain theory only. You will not realize anything. See, why Srila Prabhupada called this Bhagavad Gita as spiritual science? Does anyone know? He calls it spiritual science. There is no word called mythology or myth or anything of that. So he calls it spiritual science. Because this is something we can realize. There is a tangible result attached to it. Just like in science, we have observation, we have a procedure, we have an apparatus, then we come into a conclusion. Similar way, when you actually read Bhagavad Gita, we start understanding Bhagavad Gita, we realize what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, we start implementing what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, then we can come to a conclusion. It is a tangible result. That's why it's called as spiritual science. If otherwise it's just theory. If you don't have realization, it is just theory. If it's just theory, someone asks you a question, your faith will be, if it's a tough question and you don't know the answer, your faith will follow. To make your faith strong, regular reading of Bhagavad Gita, regular reading of Srimad Bhagavatam. For now, I would suggest only Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavatam is a deeper aspect. Bhagavad Gita itself, 700 shlokas. Right? It's very important for you to start reading. Another thing is that chanting is very important. I need to mention this. Mantra meditation is very important. I stress on this because Kali Yuga, this is the only way. And as per Shastra, this is the only way. You can see Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned. Kataya dhyato vishnum tetayam yajato meke dwapare paricharyam kalo tad hari kirtana. Kalo, whatever was done in Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga, that is meditation of Vishnu. Whatever was done in Treta Yuga, that is Yagna. whatever was done in Dwapar Yuga, that is elaborate worship of the Lord in temples, the same kind of effect, same kind of benefit you get when you actually do Hari Kirtana. We can't meditate on the Lord. Satya Yuga people used to meditate 10,000 years. 100 years also we won't live. Lord has actually given a very simple formula to reach him. That is, do Hari Kirtana, do chanting of the holy names. It's very important we do this. We take this very seriously. Can you all tell me how many of you chant at least one time a day? Very nice, very nice. Rest of you all, it's Kartik month. Please take this as an opportunity to start chanting. This is the way to actually please Radharani and get the mercy of the Lord. Anything that you do in this particular month comes back to you multifolds. Na masam kartikam samam. Skanda Puran it says, there is no month equal to Kartik Mas. Because most of the pastimes are done in Kartik Mas. Another thing is that preceding deity of Kartik is Radharani. And Radharani is one of the topmost devotee of the Lord. So anything that you do in this month, see, it's just like, I'll give you an example. To answer that particular question, there is no specific reason. Every month is specifically named after Govinda, and there are multiple names. And this is named as Kartik, which comes from Radharani's name. Her mother is called as Kirtida. So Kirtida's daughter is Kirtika Kumari, is called as Kartika. Right? That is how Radharani's name comes into picture. And it is very important because just like if you have if a small news, a king is there in a sabha, and a minister comes and gives him a small news. Right? Oh king, this is what has happened in your kingdom. The king is so happy, he takes out his necklace and he actually throws it and gives it. The news may be very small, but the king is pleased, so he gives it away. Just like that, Krishna is pleased with whatever activities that you do. One of the reason is actually it is Urjavrata. It is actually the preceding deity is Radharani, and Radharani is the topmost devotee of Krishna. And whoever Radharani recommends in this particular month, it actually you get Krishna's mercy, you get Krishna's favor. So there is as such no specific reason as to why, but it is supposed to be it is, that's why Skanda Puran says na masam samam kartika masam samam, he says. There is no masam equal to Kartik, and there is no yuga equal to Kritayut, that is Satya Yuga. No Tirtham equal to Ganga. So this is the particular shloka from Skanda Puran. Right? So it is very important for us to start chanting the holy name. This is again from Kali Santana Upanishad. There are various Upanishads. Kali Santana Upanishad is very applicable for us because we are in Kali Yuga. And this is the Upanishad that we need to read. And here Brahmaji is telling Narad Muni that iti shodaka namnam kali kalmasha nashanam mata parataropay sarva vedeshu drishyate. After reading the entire Vedas, Brahmaji is telling there is no other upay, there is no other resort than chanting the 16 syllable Maha Mantra for the people of Kali Yuga. This question was asked by Narad Muni when Lord actually left the material world and went back to the spiritual world. What will happen to the people of Kali Yuga? So that's when Brahmaji, who is the father of Narada, says that the only way, saving grace, is actually the name of Krishna. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So I'll suggest you all, please take it very seriously. While theory is very good, but theory should be, you should add sadhana to it. Right? And that's very important. So I'll stop here. I'm sure you have questions. I'll take questions. Whoever has questions, please can ask.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Why do we chant 108 times, and what is the significance of 108? I know 108 Upanishads are there,
Yeah.
but is it related?
Yes, yes. Actually, 108 is actually a very auspicious number when it comes to Vedic times as well. Like you mentioned, one is 108 Upanishads. There are predominant names also of Lord, which is 108. Various other things which I need to again confirm as to why. But 108 is a very auspicious number when it comes to the Vedic culture. And that's one of the reasons.
One more question I have. So when you were talking about practice, we always meditate on a particular form. But we have people doing a formless meditation in the form of a Gita or a jyoti, which is formless, or even using meditation for that matter, which doesn't have a form. So why do we have to imagine Lord with some form? Why cannot it be formless? I mean, it can be.
Yes, so like I mentioned, if in the slide itself, when Krishna also mentions that, because the same question was asked by Arjuna, right? See, meditating on formless is not wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong. Krishna says that it is very difficult. He says advancement in this is very difficult, right? And if you actually want to relate to Lord or reciprocate with the Lord, right? He says that it is the form aspect that will be able to be more relatable for you, right? So it is very difficult for us, like I mentioned, if practically also, for someone to actually, even mantra meditation, how much are you able to meditate on those mantras that are coming out of your mouth? Mantra meditation itself is so difficult. So try doing meditation on the formless, it's even more difficult. So it is not something that it is wrong. You can, that is one way of understanding the Lord. That is the preliminary way of understanding the Lord. But if you want to get into the pastimes of the Lord, or understand the pastimes of the Lord, or have a reciprocal relationship with the Lord, it is always with a person. Even in our daily life, we always have a reciprocal relationship with a person. So it's only logical that way. So there is nothing wrong in the formless aspect. It's just that it's a preliminary aspect, and it's very difficult to advance in that. That's what Krishna says. It's very difficult. At least in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult because we have so many allurements. WhatsApp, so many notifications come while you're meditating. It's very difficult, right? So it's only practical that we have. We worship the form aspect, and that is the ultimate understanding as well. Right?
My question is an extended one of the question. That have we made the form of the Lord for our own ease of understanding, or does that real form really exist?
Yes, good question. See, when I spoke about Brahmaji's prayers from Srimad Bhagavatam, you see how Brahmaji actually described the Lord, right? So you have to understand one thing. When in Srimad Bhagavatam also, Krishna says the one way that you could actually understand is through Archa Vigraha. That is me manifesting as Archa Vigraha in the form that you can easily relate to. And one of the things is Patachitra, that is the photo. And various other forms, through wood, through metal, and various other things, Lord actually can manifest. And that is the way you can do your devotional service to. So these are not forms that is mentally concocted. A person, when you're doing prana pratishtha in a temple, that is done by people who are doing a lot of sadhana. It is by people who are actually read the scriptures, and based on scriptures, they actually prepare Lord's form. The form of Tribhanga, it is mentioned in the scriptures. Lord holding a flute, mentioned in the scriptures. Lord having lotus eyes, mentioned in the scriptures. Lord having the lips like bimba fruit, which is reddish, it is mentioned in the scriptures. Lord wearing a pitambara clothing is mentioned in the scriptures. So it is not mentally concocted. A right person, if you are going, there are people who do right sadhana. When we do prana pratishtha, the murti is made. That particular people do sadhana for various months, and only after that they start sculpting the vigraha of the Lord. They do a lot of austerity, and then they start doing the vigraha. It is not someone that you just do as a job. No. It is not like that. There is a lot of sadhana that is involved in this. And based on that, they do. And it is not mentally concocted. The form of the Lord is as per scriptures. And that is how we should worship the Lord. Right? Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, very nice. Yes, very nice. Very nice question, actually. There are multiple good qualities that we see. In general life, also, we see a lot of people. How do we get attracted to a certain people? Because they generally have good quality. Someone who is very soft spoken, someone who's always helping someone. So these are all good qualities. So one of the best qualities that pleases Lord Krishna is humility. being humble is the quality that pleases the Lord. Right? How will you be humble? We all have so much pride. We all have so much ego. With little control over things that we have so much of pride, so much of ego. But when we start reading scriptures, we understand what our real position is. Right? The Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That you are all my part and parcel. You are all my part and parcel. So the part and parcel should actually worship the whole. Right? A servant, what is the servant's duty? Servant's duty is actually to serve the master. Here, how will you serve the master? If you only have humility, you will serve the master. If you have pride and ego, you will not serve the master. In the material world, the name servant itself is so degrading. We consider ourselves servant. Nahi. मैं थोड़ी उसका नौकर हूँ. But in spiritual world, the word servant means the topmost. Being devotee means topmost. We actually take the word devotee very cheaply. I am devotee of Lord Krishna. We are not yet a devotee of Lord Krishna. We are trying to be a devotee of Lord Krishna. So humility, humble attitude is something that pleases the Lord. Right? Because Lord is also very humble. See, Lord is someone. See, He is the one, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. And He is the one who is actually riding the chariot of Arjuna. The Supreme Lord is actually riding the chariot of Arjuna. The Supreme Lord went as Shanti, a Dut, for the Pandavas. Just like postman, if you see in the material world, it's a postman's duty to give a message. Supreme Lord went as Shanti Duta. Supreme Lord doesn't have, he is so humble and he is so reciprocative. What he does when he sees humility in his devotees, he is reciprocating with the devotees as well. So humility is a very important point that actually attracts a lot. So we should chant with humility. We should chant with humility that I have constant remembrance of you, that you always engage me in your service, Lord. So that is the mode that we should chant. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Any questions? Yes, Prabhu. Okay, someone else has mic. Okay, Prabhu. Mata, you can ask, then Prabhuji can.
So, question that we all were followers, the scientific shown that organic students and different sexual and so many other contributors. So, is it like all of these things happen on the Indian land, where we are more connected to it, and let's say there's a rural thing happening on like the Jesus Christ there, so we are more connected to them, to those people. So, how, like, when we see Krishna, we want to believe it with the whole thing, but when we just spiritual time, like, if it is scientifically, we are trying to understand, like, where are the other people of the world doing different other devotions, and just because maybe Veera happened on Indian land, so we are more bound to believe that, but they are not bound to believe that. So how are we, like, how do we understand, like, even though we want to believe that we want the most, but due to the existence of those other religions, it somehow kinds of like confuses them. Like, why is that happening?
Okay. Okay. Very nice question, actually. See, one thing we have to understand, our religion is called as what? Sanatan. What does Sanatan mean? Eternal, which doesn't have a beginning. So it was always there before the beginning of material world, right? So even if you look at, we have got scriptures dating 10 or 12,000 years, whatever it is. Those are written ones. Written ones we have from 5,000 years. But we have our Shruti, our Smriti comes actually from ages together. We are talking about Satya Yuga. We are talking about Treta Yuga. We are talking about Dwapar Yuga. These are millions of years ago, right? Millions of years ago. What we have to understand, previously, even if you are looking at the war of Kurukshetra, it is mentioned in Kurukshetra, the Mahabharata also. All this Afghanistan, land of Afghanistan, Pakistan, reaching up to China, Indonesia, and Bali, all were part of Bharatvarsha. Now, even if you go, if you have taken a trip down to Bali or Indonesia or anywhere, they actually have our gods there. You see Ganeshji, you see Sri Ram, you see Ravana, you see all this in a very big way. So Sanatana Dharma was there everywhere. So at later point of time, these particular religions came up into picture. So one way to understand is that we respect them, right? There is nothing like it came later on. See, everyone, one thing we have to understand, our Lord is very merciful. Even if some person in Islamic faith or person in Christian faith is actually worshipping their Lord, you have to understand they're actually worshipping the Supreme Lord in a different form, in a different name. That's all. Their way of worship is different. That's fine. Right? The only thing is that, see, that's why Srila Prabhupada, when he actually went to the West, he said that Krishna consciousness is actually non-sectarian. It doesn't belong to a certain sect. It doesn't belong to just to Hindus. Hindus is a word that is given by the Britishers or Mughals who came. It is actually, we are called Sanatanis. And Sanatan Dharma is actually eternal Dharma of everyone. Over the period of time, we have new religions that come into picture because Lord wanted to cater to everyone. There was specific religion given to that particular moment based on Desha, Kala and Patra. At that particular moment, that kind of education was supposed to be given to that particular place. Right? When you have this, there was a certain group of people in Arab land, if you're talking about Arab land. They were very barbaric people at that point of time. If you talk about the kind of philosophy that I spoke about, if I take a Gita session there, they'll probably crucify me there. Because for them, it's very difficult to understand. So what did Lord do? Lord actually gets into their level and provides them something that is very easier for them to understand. So it's a step-by-step gradation for them as well. Right? So if you see in Islam faith also, there is a section where it says that you should not have sex with your mother, you should not have sex with your sister. Do you understand what they are trying to tell? It was that kind of barbaric area at that point of time, where they had to be told this can't be done, it's not moral. For people like us, it's understood that it is not right. But at that point of time, this was to be told to them. Right? So that is the kind of consciousness that people had at that point of time. So since Lord is so merciful, He wants to take care of everyone. So at that point of time, He gives messages. Again, I said, it's based on Desha, Kala and Patra. Situations and place. Right? Based on that, He gives messages. So you can actually see, how did Srila Prabhupada go and go into the West and preach Krishna consciousness? Nobody knew Krishna. Nobody knew Krishna. So he introduced Bhagavad Gita. When they actually got to know Bhagavad Gita, the intricacies of Bhagavad Gita, that's when they actually started following. That's when they started understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Right? Which is right. Jesus, we respect Jesus Christ. Srila Prabhupada respects Jesus Christ a lot, and he says he's the rightful son of Krishna. He preaches, even if you see, if you have read the Bible, in the last, Jesus Christ says, I have so much more to speak to you, but you guys won't understand. That is the message that Jesus Christ also gives. He had so much to speak about the Lord, but he knew that people won't understand. So these are different gradations. Just like we have Puranas also for different gradations, ultimately coming to the highest mode. These are different gradations, catering to different kinds of consciousness of people. Right? So here we don't need to show this is the Shastra. One thing is that, like I said, Shastra is for our understanding and for our practice. It is not to show our superiority to others. That should never be done. Another question that I answered was, one thing that pleases Lord is humility. The understanding of Shastra brings about humility in us. And when we have humility, we will treat everyone with respect, be it Islam faith, be it someone from Christianity. We'll treat them equally. Let them worship the way they are worshipping, because that is the kind of worship they understand. But ultimately, they are also worshipping the Supreme Lord only. This is the kind of understanding we should get. Yeah? Prabhuji, I'll take your question also. One last question I'll take. And if you have any questions, make sure you get your answers cleared. Ask whatever questions you have, it's fine. Don't beat me up, that's all. So after Prasadam, you can write down your questions, right? If I am not answered, you can ask me. I'll answer this question. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. yes. Actually, I was thinking of stopping at 12:15. See what happens. Yes.
My understanding what I understand, I think chemically you will not take even like air, water. these things were done. That's why we will that relate to the God that he will not base or he will not he sees all these things driven by nature of God.
Yes.
To itself.
Yes.
I think this is how I look at that.
It is correct in a way, probably. It is correct in a way. See, again, the management of water, your Vayu, someone has to manage. If you see, we are talking about 33,000 Devi Devtas. How many of us know 33,000 Devi Devtas? Hardly in our hand we'll know 10, maximum 15, 20. पकड़ो, उससे ज़्यादा तो पता ही नहीं. There are so many in scriptures that is mentioned. There is a mention of a Lord called Nimi who takes care of the eyelid. He takes care, your eyelid closes and opens. There is a person, I don't know his name, there is a Devta who takes care of your bowel system. There are multiple Devtas. Now you will have pictures of them? No, we can't. See, ultimate understanding in Bhagavatam also it's mentioned. I know everyone in Kali Yuga has a fear also, Prabhu. Like I mentioned, that's why we have multiple people and personalities also. The one thing in Bhagavatam it's mentioned that there is an analogy, beautiful analogy that is given, that if you have to make a tree grow, what will you do? Where you will water? Soil or roots? You won't water each leaf, you won't water each fruit, you won't water each flower. What is the best way to water? Roots. Right? That's what Krishna says. You ultimately water me, everyone gets pleased. Everyone gets pleased. That is the way of keeping all your 33,000 Devi Devtas happy. Because when they see that someone is worshipping Supreme Lord, they get pleasure out of it. Because ultimately they are also trying to do the same by doing seva for him. So the best way is that worshipping the root cause of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam. And what are the ultimate root? And again, Kali Yuga is very important for us to understand, like you mentioned, Prabhuji. We take everything for granted. So that is very important. That's why it's also mentioned in Shastra. Yes, you're right. Okay then. Oh yes, quiz. Yes. So quiz, everyone is ready? I will see who all have been taking down notes.